Poliwags are adorable defenseless tadpoles with mysterious swirls on their stomachs that look like unfinished hedge mazes. They're fun little wet creatures that are often seen playing in shallow streams or singing their favorite tunes by the waterfall where they can belt out the lyrics without being overheard by any bystanders. That is, when they're not being eaten by their own family. Poliwhirls, Poliwraths, and their disgusting mutated distant cousins feast on the tiny Poliwags when they're famished after a long day of hunting down Poliwags. This disturbing trend has been going on for only a few years, but their current birth rate simply cannot support their monstrous appetite. It's been estimated that they'd all perish within months if left to their own device. Cannibalism in the Pokemon Kingdom isn't unheard of, but it usually occurs in the rarest and most dire of occasions, such as famine or destruction of their habitats. And most are rather remorseful and guilt-ridden after committing such desperate acts. But Poliwhirls, Poliwraths, and the gross awful Politoads are upsettingly unfazed by their own actions. Pokemon researchers intervened in hopes of saving these creatures from extinction. They removed the Poliwags from their natural habitats and built a sanctuary for them, far away from their siblings and parents who craved their flesh. Then they tried to reintroduce their previous diet of bugs and algae, but they refused to consume them. Then they introduced them to fine cuisines from all over the world, but this attempt also failed to produce results. During the experiment, many of these stubborn creatures died from starvation. It appeared that they actually preferred their diet of Poliwags and were staunchly against eating anything else. It was back to the drawing board for the researchers who had to work tirelessly to come up with a feasible solution. In one of the darkest moments in history, they began to toy with the idea of making synthetic food that tasted like Poliwags. But that also meant that they had to sample a Poliwag to figure out how to produce its taste. Many were against this horrific idea, but time was of the essence. So they sampled one. Then they sampled another. They understood. The taste. It was unlike anything else. It was simply divine. Soon the scientists became ravenous. They started eating the Poliwags, fighting over them, killing their peers to get another mouthful. It wasn't long before the number of Poliwags dwindled to a catastrophic degree. The Pokemon government had to intervene and quarantine the scientists before it was too late. But it was too late. These poor souls. They had the hunger. And there was no cure. They had to be put down. Then a controversial solution rose from the ashes of these experiments. With some help from the Pokemon League, they decided to clone the Poliwags and relegate half of them as feed for the Poliwag evolutionary line. It wasn't ideal, but it was the only effective solution. It was the only way to keep everybody happy. Unless you're a Poliwag. I'm Johnny Appleseed's Uncle Johnny Applebee's, and this has been another episode of Pokemon Facts. Stay tuned for more factual Pokemon facts. Have a wonderful Pokemon day.